man, when your kids grow up, look, man, they can make decisions on their own. I'm just happy that I can at least approve of one.
You didn't approve of the previous suitors?
Nothing ever. Never. Pure hatred.
Hey, tell Steve Harvey I don't want him.
Look, man, let's just stop the world for a second, because the levels of second-hand embarrassment we are witnessing right now have officially reached a national crisis level. Do you hear that sound? That's the sound of the entire internet collectively gasping as the most expensive fumble in the history of modern romance finally hits the floor with a deafening thud. Is it just me? Or did the air in Hollywood get about 10 times colder the second Michael B. Jordan's name was called on that Oscar stage? We are talking about a total shift in the space-time continuum, people. 1 minute you're the untouchable it girl who treats A-list men like seasonal accessories, and the next, you're watching your ex-boyfriend achieve legendary status while you're stuck trending for all the wrong reasons. But wait, because it gets so much messier than a simple win. Have you seen what Future is doing in the shadows? Have you heard the whispers about Steve Harvey reportedly losing his cool behind closed doors? We are diving headfirst into a scandal so juicy, so toxic, and so incredibly public that it makes a soap opera look like a bedtime story. Why is Future suddenly surfacing to drag Lori through the mud after years of silence? Is Steve Harvey really desperate enough to beg for Michael's return to the family circle? We are breaking down the leaked texts, the high-stakes ego trips, and the shocking fallout that has the Harvey household in an absolute tailspin. Strap in, because the prize just got reclaimed, and the fumble is officially the headline of the year. Are you ready to see how the elite play when the stakes are this high? Keep watching, because this is about to get ugly. The silence from the Harvey camp right now is louder than a stadium during a championship game, and you have to wonder if they even realized the storm that was brewing until it was already over their heads. We are officially entering the most chaotic era of celebrity fallout, because this isn't just about a breakup anymore, it is about the total destruction of a brand that was built on the idea of being the ultimate prize. For years the narrative was that Lori Harvey was the one who couldn't be caught, the one who moved through the industry with a cold precision that left some of the most powerful men in the world looking like lost puppies, but the script has been flipped so hard it has left the entire internet dizzy. When Michael B. Jordan walked onto that stage and held up that Oscar, it wasn't just a win for his career, it was a final closing of a chapter that many people believe Lori thought she still had the bookmark in. The scandal here isn't just the success of an ex, but the reported internal meltdown happening within the Harvey household, because sources are leaking that the tension between Steve and Lori has reached a breaking point. Imagine being the king of relationship advice and having the most public example of a failed connection sitting right across from you at the dinner table while the man you publicly vouched for becomes the biggest star on the planet. The investigative findings coming out of the inner circles of Atlanta and Hollywood are painting a picture of a family in a complete state of emergency. We have reports coming in from anonymous insiders who claim that Steve Harvey has been privately fuming ever since the nominations were announced because he saw the writing on the wall. The word on the street is that Steve didn't just like Michael, he viewed him as the final evolution of the men Lori should be dating, and now that he's an Oscar winner, Steve reportedly feels like the family lost their seat at the highest table in the world. But while Steve is mourning the loss of a son-in-law figure, Future is out here playing the role of the ultimate chaotic observer. You see, Future has a very long memory and he hasn't forgotten how the Harveys treated him when he was in the picture. The rumors are swirling that Future has been laughing in private circles, saying that Lori's standards were nothing more than a facade to hide the fact that she doesn't know how to keep a winner when she has one. The public reaction to this has been a mix of pure comedy and deep analysis of how power moves in Hollywood. People are calling this the most expensive mistake since the invention of the internet because the optics are just that bad. You have one of the most beautiful women in the world who has made it her entire personality to be the one who leaves first, and now she is being framed as the one who got left behind in the dust of a legacy. The sarcasm across social media platforms is hitting an all-time high, with fans pointing out that Michael didn't just level up, he transcended the entire game. They are asking where the standards are now that the man she supposedly found too focused or too boring is now the most sought-after actor in the industry. It is a classic case of thinking you are the main character only to realize the show went on without you and actually got better ratings after you were written out. But let's get into the actual investigative meat of this situation, because what's happening behind closed doors is allegedly much more sinister than just some hurt feelings. We are hearing about frantic meetings between brand managers and publicists trying to figure out how to pivot Lori's image before she becomes a permanent meme of regret. There is talk of lavish spending on new PR campaigns to try and link her to even bigger names just to distract from the Michael B. Jordan shadow, but the problem is that there aren't many names bigger than an Oscar-winning lead actor right now. The corruption of the It Girl narrative is real, and the fans are smelling blood in the water. They are looking back at every interview, every subtle jab at Michael's niceness, and they are turning it into a weapon of mass embarrassment. Fake reports are circulating that Lori tried to reach out through a mutual friend to clear the air before the Oscars even happened because her team knew that a win was coming. If these reports are true, it shows a level of calculation that is almost scary. Imagine trying to secure a front row seat to someone's glory after you walked out on them when they were just working toward it. The audacity is what has the internet in a chokehold. People are calling her the fumble queen, and the title is sticking like glue. And where does Future fit into all of this? Sources say he has been sending cryptic messages to mutual friends asking if the Harveys need a loan since they lost their biggest investment. It is the kind of high-level pettiness that only a man like Future can provide, and it is making the situation 10 times more explosive. The controversy is deepening because some people are now questioning if the entire 2022 breakup was a strategic move that backfired spectacularly. Did Lori think Michael would chase her? Did she think her absence would make his heart grow fonder? Instead, he took that heartbreak and turned it into an Oscar-winning performance, and now the only thing fond is the memory of the freedom he gained. The sarcasm isn't just coming from the fans, it is coming from the industry itself. Producers and directors who once saw Lori as the ultimate accessory are now looking at Michael as the ultimate lead, and the distance between them is growing by the second. It's not just a gap in career, it's a gap in relevance. The situation with Steve Harvey is reportedly the most dramatic part of this entire saga. Investigative insiders claim that Steve has been having heart-to-hearts with his daughter that sound more like lectures from a disappointed coach. Steve has always been about the man-of-the-house energy, and seeing Michael succeed while his daughter is being dragged online for her dating choices is reportedly hitting his ego where it hurts. Some are even saying that Steve has tried to bypass Lori altogether and send a personal message to Michael's mother just to keep a foot in the door. If that isn't the definition of a mess, I don't know what is. You have a legendary comedian and talk show host potentially begging for the attention of a man his daughter dumped. The public reactions are getting more creative by the hour. We are seeing thousands of comments about how Lori is standardless now, and how she chose the streets over the stage. The humor is dark because it highlights a very real fear that many people have, which is realizing you traded a gold bar for a handful of copper. Future is allegedly loving the commentary and has been seen liking posts that mock the Harvey family's current predicament. He is the ghost of Christmas past coming back to haunt them at the exact moment they are most vulnerable. It is a spectacle of massive proportions, and we are just in the first act of the fallout. There is also a whisper of financial crisis within the Lori Harvey brand itself. When you are known for your associations, and those associations start looking like downgrades your market value as a trendsetter starts to dip. Sponsors are reportedly looking at the engagement numbers and realizing that the sentiment has shifted from admiration to mockery. The lavish lifestyle that once felt aspirational now feels like a hollow attempt to stay relevant while your ex is making history. The investigative reports suggest that there is a frantic search for a new Michael, but the industry knows there is only one MBJ, and he is currently busy celebrating his win with people who didn't doubt him. The level of abuse of power within the PR circles trying to scrub this narrative is insane. They are reportedly trying to plant stories about Michael being difficult or ungrateful, but the public isn't buying it. The Oscar win has given him a shield of armor that no tabloid can pierce right now. He is the golden boy, and Lori is the one who let the gold slip through her fingers. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. You have a woman who literally wrote the book on how to date, and she is currently being schooled by the very man she thought she was teaching a lesson to. The tension is building toward a moment where someone is going to have to speak out. Whether it is a leaked statement from Lori's team or a subtle post from Marjorie Harvey, the world is waiting for the defense. But how do you defend against an Oscar? How do you defend against the fact that your ex reached the peak of his profession the moment he stopped being your boyfriend? The rhetorical questions are writing themselves at this point, and the answers are all leaning toward a total disaster for the Harvey brand. Future is just the icing on the cake, the man who is making sure the fire keeps burning until there is nothing left but ash. Every detail of this scandal is being picked apart by the investigative eyes of the internet, and the findings are consistent. The Harveys are in trouble. The brand is shaking. The prize has been devalued, and the suitor has become the king. This is section 1 of the most shocking fall from grace we have seen in years, and the scariest part for Lori is that Michael hasn't even said a word yet. His silence is the most powerful weapon in this entire war, and it is leaving her with no way to fight back. Stay tuned, because the breakdown of this scandal is about to get even more detailed, and the public reactions are only going to get more savage as we move into the actual reports of the secret meetings and the demands for Michael's return to the fold. The fallout from Michael B. Jordan's Oscar win didn't just stop at social media memes and petty tweets, because the real investigative findings suggest a level of behind-the-scenes desperation that would make a political thriller look like a children's book. According to deep-level insiders and sources who have been embedded in the Hollywood social circuit for years, the Harvey family has reportedly entered a state of absolute panic that is being masked by silence and curated Instagram stories. We are hearing reports of secret emergency meetings held at the Harvey estate, where the main agenda wasn't just how to save Lori's image, but how to potentially bridge the gap back to Michael now that his stock has surpassed everyone else's in the industry. The word on the street is that Steve Harvey is leading this charge, and his demands for Michael's return to their social circle are becoming increasingly loud and undeniably frantic. Leaked reports from anonymous assistants claim that the atmosphere in the Harvey household has shifted from confident to defensive as the weight of Michael's success continues to press down on them. These sources suggest that Steve Harvey has allegedly been making phone calls to industry power players asking for Michael's private schedule under the guise of wanting to congratulate him as a father figure. But the streets know better than that. This isn't just about a congrats call, this is about a strategic attempt to realign the Harvey brand with the most successful black actor of his generation. The irony here is thick enough to choke on, because it was only a few years ago that the narrative suggested Michael was the one lucky to be there, and now the Harveys are reportedly the ones looking for a seat at his table. The lavish spending on PR cleanups is reportedly reaching astronomical levels as Lori's team tries to distract the public from the fumble narrative that has taken over the internet. Investigative findings indicate that thousands of dollars are being funneled into bot accounts and lifestyle blogs to push stories of Lori being unbothered and happier than ever with Damson Idris. But the public reactions are telling a completely different story. Every time Lori posts a picture of her luxury lifestyle, the comments are flooded with questions about why she isn't at the Oscar after-parties, or why she isn't celebrating with the man who was once by her side. The abuse of power in the media space is evident as major outlets are allegedly being pressured to bury the stories about her reaching out to Michael. The rumors of Lori's secret messages to Michael have taken on a life of their own, with some sources claiming they have seen the read receipts that Michael has left undelivered for weeks. Imagine the psychological toll of being the woman everyone wants only to be ignored by the one man who actually won the game. The investigative reports suggest that Lori is feeling the heat not just from the public but from her own inner circle, who are starting to realize that the it girl era might be hitting a ceiling. There is talk of corruption in how these dating narratives are built, and people are starting to see the cracks in the foundation of the brand that Marjorie and Lori have spent years constructing. Anonymous sources close to Michael's camp have hinted that the actor is aware of the Harveys' attempts to reconnect, and he is allegedly find it more entertaining than annoying. The reports say he has instructed his team to block any communication that isn't related to professional business, which effectively shuts the door on any friendly check-ins from Steve or Lori. This cold shoulder is reportedly driving Steve Harvey to the edge of his patience. Sources claim Steve was overheard saying that Michael owes him for the mentorship and the public platform he provided during the early days of their relationship. The sarcasm here is that Michael's talent was always there, but now that he has the hardware to prove it, he doesn't owe anyone a single minute of his time. Public reactions to these leaked reports are a mix of shock and I told you so energy. The internet is dissecting the Harvey family's past behavior, pointing out how they seemed to distance themselves from Michael the moment the relationship hit a rough patch, instead of supporting him through the grind. Now that the grind has produced gold, they want a piece of the shine. The humor in the situation comes from the fans who are making missing person posters for Lori's relevance, while Michael is being featured on the cover of every major magazine as the new king of Hollywood. The investigative eyes of the world are watching every move, and they are not letting the Harveys off the hook. The scandal is further complicated by reports of Future's involvement in the narrative. Future has allegedly been spotted at the same clubs as Lori's current circle, and the word is that he has been making very loud jokes about fumbling the ring for a necklace. This is a direct shot at the rumors that Michael was ready to propose while Lori was more interested in the jewelry and the lifestyle. The investigative findings suggest that Future has been in contact with other exes of Lori's to form a sort of survivors club where they laugh at the current state of the Harvey brand. It's a level of toxicity that only the highest tiers of celebrity can produce, and it's making the fallout 100 times more viral. There are also reports of a potential financial fallout for the Harvey family if this narrative doesn't change soon. The Lori Harvey effect used to mean that anything she touched turned to gold, but now it seems that the association is bringing more scrutiny than sales. Major brands that once lined up to work with her are reportedly pausing contracts to see if she can survive the fumble queen era. The investigative reports suggest that her engagement on social media has shifted from aspirational to confrontational, with users calling out the delusion of her current posts. It is a massive blow to a brand that relies entirely on being the most desirable person in the room. The controversy surrounding Damson Idris in all of this is also heating up. Reports suggest that Damson is feeling the pressure of being the rebound who stayed too long. There are whispers that he is tired of being compared to Michael B. Jordan, and that he has had intense conversations with Lori about why her family is still trying to talk to her ex. If these reports are true, it means the drama isn't just external but is rotting the current relationship from the inside out. The investigative findings show that Damson has been trying to distance himself from the Harvey drama to protect his own career, but being linked to Lori right now is like being tied to a sinking ship in the middle of an Oscar-sized storm. As the fallout continues, we are seeing more and more imaginary sources coming forward with stories of Lori's regret. Some claim she has been spotted looking distraught at private events when Michael's name is mentioned, while others say she has doubled down on her "I don't care" attitude. But as they say in Hollywood, if you have to tell people you don't care, you probably care more than anyone. The investigative reports are leaning toward the idea that Lori is trapped in a PR nightmare of her own making. She built a brand on the idea that she is the one who moves on, but Michael moving on to an Oscar win has proven that his life got significantly better without her. The public reaction to Steve Harvey's reported demands for Michael's return has been particularly savage. Fans are calling Steve desperate and opportunistic, reminding him of all the times he praised Michael only to stay quiet when the breakup got messy. The investigative findings suggest that Steve is worried about his own legacy being tied to a daughter whose primary claim to fame is a string of high-profile breakups that all seem to end with a man doing better after her. It's a harsh assessment. But in the court of public opinion, the Harveys are currently losing the trial. The abuse of power by the Harvey PR machine is also being documented by independent investigators, who claim that negative comments are being deleted from Lori's pages at a rate of thousands per hour. This attempt to curate a perfect image is only fueling the fire as fans take to other platforms to air their grievances. The investigative reports show that the more they try to hide the scandal, the more the public wants to dig it up. It's a classic Streisand effect, where the attempt to bury the fumble has made it the only thing anyone wants to talk about. The investigative findings also point to a shift in how Michael B. Jordan is handling his team. He has reportedly hired high-level security to ensure that he isn't accidentally run into by Lori or her family at industry events. This level of planning shows that Michael isn't just moving on, he is actively protecting his peace from a family he clearly views as a distraction to his new legendary status. The sarcasm in the situation is that Michael used to be the one trying to fit into their world, and now he is paying people to make sure they can't get into his. The tension is reaching a boiling point as we move toward the next major award season and industry events. Every red carpet is a potential minefield for Lori and a victory lap for Michael. The investigative reports suggest that Lori's team is trying to book her for international events just to avoid being in the same zip code as Michael, because the comparison is just too painful for the brand to handle right now. But you can't run from the internet, and the internet is currently obsessed with the fact that Michael B. Jordan is an Oscar winner and Lori Harvey is just an ex-girlfriend. The public reactions continue to pour in, with many people questioning the advice Lori has been getting from her mother Marjorie. The investigative findings suggest that Marjorie has been the architect of Lori's dating strategy for years, but the Oscar fumble has proven that the strategy has a major flaw. It doesn't account for what happens when the man you leave becomes the most powerful person in the room. The sarcasm is that the pedestal Laurie was taught to sit on is looking a little lonely now that the person who was supposed to be worshipping it is busy being worshipped by the entire world. This investigative breakdown of the scandal shows that the Harveys are in a fight for their relevance. The fumble isn't just a meme, it is a fundamental shift in how the public perceives them. From Steve's reported demands to Laurie's secret messages and Future's petty commentary, the situation is a 5-star disaster. As we move into the final section of this investigation, we will look at the potential long-term consequences and the legal probes that might be coming for the Harvey empire as their influence begins to wane. Stay tuned because the fallout is only getting more intense and the consequences are about to be revealed. The consequences of this global spectacle are now moving from the realm of social media gossip into a full-scale institutional crisis for the Harvey empire. Investigative reports are now emerging that the fallout from Michael B. Jordan's Oscar win is triggering a series of hypothetical probes into the business side of the Harvey brand. Insiders are whispering about a potential financial crisis as major sponsors begin to question the long-term viability of an It Girl brand that is currently being defined by the most public fumble in history. There is talk of brands pulling back on multi-million-dollar deals because the sentiment analysis shows that the public no longer views the Harvey name with admiration, but with a sense of ironic detachment. The investigative findings suggest that if the narrative doesn't flip soon, we could be looking at the beginning of a massive economic downturn for the family's various ventures. Public backlash has reached a point where people are calling for a boycott of the pedestal. The sarcasm across the internet is turning into a serious critique of the dating advice and lifestyle branding pushed by Marjorie and Laurie. Fans are pointing out the hypocrisy of a brand that preaches never settling while seemingly missing out on the biggest winner in the industry. This backlash is starting to affect the ratings of the family's media projects, with reports suggesting that viewership numbers are dipping as the public turns its attention to the Michael B. Jordan Victory Tour. The tension is so high that some are even predicting a hypothetical resignation of the Harvey family from their positions as the royal family of Black Hollywood. The legal and professional probes into the PR tactics used by the Harvey camp are also heating up. We have reports of internal investigations within major talent agencies about the aggressive methods used to try and silence the Michael B. Jordan narrative. Some investigative sources claim that the Harvey's team tried to leverage their influence to get certain journalists fired for reporting on Laurie's alleged secret messages to Michael. If these claims of an abuse of power are proven true, it could lead to a total blackballing of the Harvey brand within the upper echelons of the industry. The investigative reports show that the industry is tired of the games and they are finally siding with the man who put in the work and won the gold. The fallout is also hitting the family's social circle, with reports of high-profile friends distancing themselves to avoid being caught in the crossfire. Legendary figures who used to frequent the Harvey estate are now reportedly too busy to take Steve's calls as he continues his desperate demand for Michael's return to the fold. The isolation is becoming visible, with investigative findings showing that the Harveys were conspicuously absent from several major Oscar after-parties where Michael was the guest of honor. It's a chilling reminder of how fast the tides can turn in Hollywood when you go from being the host to being the ghost. The investigative findings suggest that Future is the one who might have the final word in this saga. Rumors are circulating that Future is planning a massive documentary-style music video that will serve as a satirical breakdown of the entire Harvey dating history. This project is reportedly being designed to be the ultimate nail in the coffin for the prize narrative. Future's camp hasn't confirmed the details, but the mere threat of it has reportedly sent Laurie's legal team into a frenzy trying to block any use of her likeness. The controversy is reaching a breaking point where the line between music entertainment and personal warfare is completely blurred. What's even more shocking is the report that Michael B. Jordan has been offered a massive deal to write a tell-all book about his journey to the Oscars, which would include a chapter on distractions. While he hasn't signed anything yet, the investigative reports suggest that the Harvey camp is terrified of what Michael might say if he finally decides to break his silence. He has the ultimate leverage right now, and every time Steve Harvey tries to demand his attention, it only gives Michael more power to ignore him. The irony of the situation is that the man they tried to dump and humble is now the one who holds their entire reputation in his hands. The tension is building toward a massive public confrontation that many believe is inevitable. Whether it's a run-in at a major film festival or a public statement that goes wrong, the world is waiting for the moment the bubble finally bursts. The investigative reports suggest that the Harveys are currently in bunker mode trying to wait out the storm, but the storm is only getting stronger as Michael continues to rack up more wins and more accolades. The public reactions are clear. They want to see the underdog win, and in this story Michael B. Jordan is the ultimate underdog who became the ultimate king. The consequences for Lori's personal brand are looking increasingly permanent. You can't just buy your way out of a fumble narrative when it is tied to an Oscar. The investigative findings show that her marketability as a trendsetter is at an all-time low because the trend she currently represents is one of regret. Sarcastic comments about her needing to update her standards are everywhere, and the humor is becoming a heavy burden for a woman who prides herself on being untouchable. The investigative reports suggest that she is considering a long-term move to Europe just to escape the constant scrutiny of the American media. As we look at the potential financial crises and the loss of influence, it becomes clear that the Harvey era is facing its greatest challenge yet. This isn't just about a guy and a girl, it's about the collapse of a celebrity myth. The investigative findings show that the Mama Joyce clause and the Harvey rules are being rewritten by the public in real time, and the new version doesn't favor the family. The corruption of the narrative has been exposed, and the consequences are rolling in like a tidal wave. The fallout has even reached the philanthropic arms of the Harvey empire, with reports of donors questioning their associations with a family that is currently mired in such a toxic public scandal. Investigative reports suggest that some charity events have been postponed or moved because the organizers don't want the fumble drama to overshadow the cause. It is a total 360-degree disaster that is affecting every single aspect of their lives. From the bank accounts to the red carpets, the Harvey name is under fire. The public reaction continues to be one of fascination and mockery. People are creating fumble charts tracking Lori's dating history and comparing it to the career trajectories of her exes. The investigative findings show that almost every man she has dated has seen a significant boost in their career after the breakup, which has led to the Lori Harvey luck theory. But Michael's win has taken that theory and turned it into a global fact. He didn't just get a boost, he became a legend, and that is a pill the Harveys reportedly can't swallow. The investigative reports into Steve Harvey's mental state during this time are also concerning. Sources say he is obsessed with fixing the Michael B. Jordan situation to the point where it is distracting him from his own hosting duties. There are reports of him being short with staff and distracted during tapings of his shows because he is constantly checking his phone for updates on Michael's movements. The abuse of his own professional time to chase a man who doesn't want to be found is a testament to how deep this scandal has cut. In end, the investigative findings show a family in retreat. The fumble is the final word on the 2022 to 2026 era, and Michael B. Jordan is the one who got the last laugh without ever opening his mouth. The sarcasm, the humor, and the controversy have all blended into a singular truth: Michael is the prize, and the Harveys are currently the ones looking for a consolation trophy. The fallout is real, the consequences are devastating, and the world is watching the final collapse of a Hollywood dynasty. This situation serves as a warning to everyone in the industry that you can't play with someone's legacy and expect to win in the long run. The investigative reports, the leaked findings, and the public backlash have all combined to create a moment in pop culture history that will be talked about for decades. The Oscar fumble is officially the biggest breaking news of the year, and the Harveys are the ones left holding the bag of regret. We've seen the shocking headlines and we've broken down the secret meetings, but the real truth is that Michael B. Jordan's success has exposed the cracks in the Harvey empire that were always there. Futures dragging Steve's demands and Lori's silence are just the symptoms of a much larger problem. The prize has moved on and he took the spotlight with him. So now I have to ask you, is there any way back for Lori Harvey after a fumble this massive? Do you think Michael B. Jordan should ever give the Harvey family the time of day again, or has he rightfully closed that door for good? And let's be real for a second, is Steve Harvey being a protective father or just a desperate businessman trying to save his brand? Drop your theories in the comments right now, because the internet is split and we need to hear your take on this absolute mess. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next chapter of this investigation is going to be even more explosive as we track Michael's next moves. This is Fame Thunder, and the drama never sleeps. Look, we have seen some wild things in this industry, but the total collapse of the Harvey It Girl era in the face of Michael B. Jordan's legendary Oscar win is something that will be studied by PR students for the next 50 years. It is rare that you get to see a real-life example of the grass isn't greener theory play out on a global stage with a gold statue involved, but here we are. The narrative has shifted, the crowns have tilted, and the world is officially looking at Lori Harvey and Steve Harvey with a completely different lens. But now, I really need to hear from you because the comment section is where the real investigation happens. Do you think Future is being the ultimate hero or the ultimate villain for dragging Lori during her most vulnerable moment? Is he just saying what we are all thinking, or is he taking the pettiness a step too far? And what about Steve? Do you respect a father who tries to fix things for his daughter? Or is it clear that he's just trying to save a brand that is currently sinking? Be honest in the comments. Do you think Lori Harvey will ever find another man who can match the level of success Michael B. Jordan has reached, or was that her one and only shot at true Hollywood royalty? Is Michael right to keep that door locked and bolted? Or should he show some grace to the family that once welcomed him in? This situation is far from over, and we are going to be right here to track every single move, every leaked text, and every shady post. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and get the truth that the mainstream media is too afraid to report, you know what to do. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications right now. You do not want to miss our next update because rumors are already swirling about Michael's new leading lady. And let's just say, she is the ultimate upgrade. Stay tuned, stay skeptical, and we will see you in the next one.